What's up guys, I'm back like I never left. In this video, we're going to be talking about a significant company that Ark Invest bought, and the stock significantly went up for the past few days, the past few weeks. I'm going to go over exactly what to watch out for. Their earnings reports are coming up pretty soon, so we're going to go over what to expect and if the stock has potential to continue to go up. I'm also doing a quick stock market recap. You're going to go over some important economic reports that we need to be watching out for tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned. Now let's get right into the video. Before we get into the video, I appreciate if you can hit the like button. If you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop in the comment section below. As you can see over here, we have the major stocks like Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple. Now, these are the major big tech companies. They're still holding down the overall stock market. They're selling off. Money is flowing from these companies to another sectors in the stock market, like the industrials. And we have the energy sector also that's been performing very well. And we have some financial stocks that perform really, really well too. So we still have to wait for exactly if there's going to be any stabilization for these companies, because they're continuously selling off, more than 1, 2, 3% every single day. So that is really uncommon, especially these major big tech multi-trillion-dollar companies. So at least we have Netflix today that recovered some of the big sell-off that happened yesterday. It was positive 2.07% of the upside. So we need to be watching out for exactly what these companies are going to be doing for the next few days. So of course, the COVID cases are still rising a lot, still lockdown happening in Europe. So we still need to be watching out for if there's going to be any major drastic moves that can potentially happen within the US. So now let's talk about the major companies that reported earnings yesterday. So we talked about Jumia and Rocket that reported earnings today. So Rocket actually had a really phenomenal number. Their revenue's up 163%, but the stock is really not doing that much. So we have to wait for tomorrow, right after the market opens. The stock might potentially start to move after the stock market opens tomorrow. So, but the revenue numbers was really solid. And we also talked about Jumia stock. This is the Amazon of Africa. We talked about these major companies that benefited from the lockdowns. Even though they are getting solid numbers, even though they beat earnings, if they perform very well, the stocks have just really been selling off to the downside. So as you can see, it's down minus 19.31%. So yesterday we talked about that. I hate to really be careful if you're holding a position on any of these major COVID stocks, since in spite of the positive news that came out of the vaccine, these stocks can potentially even sell off further to the downside. So now let's talk about the company that Ark Invest bought in November. So I covered this company, and the stock significantly went up higher. It was Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR. We talked about this company was trading around below $10, right around like $9 area, and it went up to a high of $14.67. And now it's sitting at $14, and after hours it's relatively down below $14, but their earnings reports are coming out pretty soon and Thursday. So I'm going to go over exactly what to expect for the earnings reports. So before I talk about that, the ETF that Ark Invest holds, this specific company is the Ark KW, which is the Ark Next Generation Internet ETF. So this is the last stock that they own, which is number 51. So as you can see over here, they only hold less than 30,000 shares. So that is not a lot of positions. They really did not add that much, even though the stock price was going higher and higher. When we look at exactly when we talked about this company, as you can see over here, when Ark Invest started to get involved in it, right around over here at right $10, this is when we start talking about it. The stock eventually went to $15. That is approximately like 30% to the upside when you look at it. And if you want to get involved in it at that time, we were talking about the risk area we can use with right around $9 in case if it comes down and retests it, but it eventually went up to the upside. So this is a company that we definitely need to be watching out for, because their earnings reports is coming up in November 12th, and the expected move for this company is 13% of the upside to the downside. So that could potentially move the stock $1.90 to the upside to the downside. So if it moves to the upside, it might retest the highs of $15, and if it goes below, it might go over here, the support area, or it might potentially sell off to the support area that we have over here, which is $11. So we still have to wait for it. But as I mentioned, Ark Invest got involved in it, so you have to be super careful. Just because Ark Invest bought it that does not mean that the stock is going to perform like this. That this is one of the companies that did pretty well. There are multiple other companies that Ark Invest gets involved in them, and they do not perform very well. Let's say, for example, when you look at Fastly, one of the stocks that drastically dropped, and we talked about it, and Ark Invest really loaded up on that stock when it was trading around like $80, and the stock like continued to drop, to $70, $65, and even went to like $63, So you have to be super careful, when they get involved in these companies, they are continuously averaging down on the companies if they sell off. And of course, they're going to be holding them for a very long time. So that is one of the things that makes you different. So if you want to follow along of their companies that they buy, sometimes they perform very, very well initially when they got it. The stock spikes up significantly to the upside, just like Palantir, just like Nano Dimensions. The stock really drastically goes up, but that is not the case. So you really need to understand that important information. So these are all the companies, of course, that they hold. When you look at the individual of these companies, some of them are down significantly, some of them are up significantly. So it's just a mix of bags when you look at some of the gains and the losses for some of the stock that they hold in the ETFs. So you have to be super careful. For Palantir, though, there's definitely big potential for this company when you look at exactly what they could potentially do.
Co-founded by Peter Thiel back in 2003, its mission, providing software that customers use to integrate volumes of data from images to spreadsheets into a central platform where it can then be securely analyzed and interpreted.
Best known for its work with U.S. government agencies like the CIA, the Department of Defense, and most controversially, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the company was founded following 9/11 with the goal of defending American interests.
The core mission of our company always was to make the West, especially America, the strongest in the world for the sake of global peace and prosperity.
But in recent years, Palantir has also courted customers like Airbus, Chrysler, and BP. Commercial customers now make up about 50% of the company's revenue, a number that's trended upwards over the past decade. And even though Palantir has never turned a profit, revenue has been growing as losses have narrowed. Founded in 2003 by billionaire Peter Thiel alongside current CEO Alex Karp, Joe Lonsdale, Stephen Cohen, and Nathan Gettings, Palantir's tech helps detect unusual or suspicious patterns in large datasets, using techniques that the founders learned working together at PayPal. The CIA was one of the company's earliest investors, and its only customer for a number of years. Eventually, other intelligence agencies like the FBI and the NSA jumped aboard, using the company's customized data analytics capabilities to track and capture terrorists, insurgents, and drug smugglers.
They cite Afghanistan and Iraq as two examples of places where soldiers were mapping networks of insurgents and makers of roadside bombs by hand. So they actually were bringing in technology to do things that intelligence agents on the ground were having to do manually in very dangerous places.
The company's software has been credited with helping to find and kill Osama bin Laden. And though this has never been confirmed, Palantir certainly has not disputed it. The techs also helped to uncover Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme and rooted out Chinese spyware installed on the Dalai Lama's computer.
We work hand in hand with most of the special operators in the Western world. We work hand in hand with most of the clandestine services. We're in over 40 countries.
Today, the company increasingly works with high-profile commercial customers too. Its first was JP Morgan Chase, which adopted the software in 2009 to monitor employees who might go rogue. However, the partnership ended in scandal when JP Morgan's special operations lead used it to spy on top executives. Others have continued to express interest, though. Fiat Chrysler now uses Palantir to identify potential faults in car parts. Airbus uses it to respond more quickly to manufacturing problems, accelerating the production of its A350 aircraft. And BP uses it to analyze drilling data, reportedly leading to a 10% increase in oil production in the North Sea.
This is a hefty piece of software that runs across an enterprise and is used for understanding everything that a company faces, whether it's their customers, their supply chains, downtime, geographies where there's growth, where their competitors are gaining share.
As revenue from the commercial sector has increased over the years, CEO Alex Karp has had to rethink his historical dismissal of salespeople.
We don't look like a classic enterprise software company. We have no salespeople. Almost everyone here is an engineer.
Not anymore. Karp's been building out a sales team, and in 2019, the company spent 61% of its revenue on sales and marketing. However, long-standing government contracts remain integral to the company's revenue as well as its reputation. And during the coronavirus crisis, Palantir has formed a number of new partnerships too, with the VA, the National Institutes of Health, and Britain's National Health Service, helping these agencies, as well as the CDC, to track the spread of the virus and allocate resources.
In order to make decisions right now, in order to know where the PPEs need to go, in order to know when and where you're going to reopen, you want all the analytical models, all the pieces of information all in one place. Palantir is really designed to thrive in a...
So for tomorrow, there's no economic reports. It's holiday Veterans Days for tomorrow, so there's not going to be any economic reports. So make sure you stay safe and be really super careful right now with the stock market. Of course, the stock market has been going up and down a lot, but make sure you manage your risk. And if you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop in the comment section below. And if you want to join the Discord chat or join the Patreon page or sign up for Webull, you get 3 free stocks. There's going to be a link available in the description box below. But I catch you guys on tomorrow's video. Let's get it. Have a wonderful day.